Stand up! Today we must do 10 videos. Dora was only 14, yet her life felt heavier than that of any grown woman in Lagos. While other children of her age woke up to the smell of akara outside and the chatter of neighbors heading to school, Dora woke up to the blinding white glow of a ring light. She could barely stretch from her bed before her mother, Madam Uche, barged into her room with the tripod tucked under one arm and the microphone dangling in another hand. "Stand up! Today we must do 10 videos," she said, her voice sharp with the kind of determination that had long stopped sounding like love. Her eyes sparkled, not with pride, not with joy, but with a desperate hunger for the online fame she had grown addicted to. Dora obeyed because disobedience was punished with silent treatment and locked doors. She sat in front of the camera every day, painting her face with makeup she didn't care about, demonstrating cooking hacks she barely understood, and acting out funny kits that left her empty instead of laughing. The smile she wore wasn't hers, it belongs to the camera. Her real smile has slowly disappeared, buried under filters, false takes, and endless retakes whenever Madam Uche shouted, "Again, this one is not good enough." Outside the screen, Dora's childhood was dying silently. Every evening, after hours of filming, she would sit on the edge of her bed and watch her mother count YouTube dollars the way a pastor counts offering on a Sunday morning. The glow on her mother's face came not from pride in her daughter, but from the money rolling in. Dora would watch her fingers shake with excitement as notification of new subscribers pinched on her phone. "Mama, can I rest now?" Dora would sometimes whisper. "Rest? When success is near, don't be lazy, Dora," her mother snapped, never looking up. Those words cut deeper than any slap could. Dora wished, just once, that her mother would look at her and see a daughter, not a content machine. She wished to run outside, play, laugh and breathe, everything beyond the four walls of that room. But Madam Uche, she had tasted online fame, and it was sweeter than motherhood. Fame filled her eyes, money filled her dreams, and Dora, she was slowly fading away. Every night before she slept, she asked herself the same quiet question: "Has YouTube replaced my life?" And the silence that followed was louder than any answer. The apartment had doors, iron, painted and polished, but none of them truly opened for Dora. Every time she reached for the handle, Madam Uche would appear like a shadow summoned by fear and control. "Where do you think you are going?" her mother would bark, blocking the doorway with her body. "The world out there is a distraction. Stay inside, focus on your work." Her tone left no room for argument, and so Dora stepped back, again and again and again, until she stopped trying altogether. The apartment became a cage, and she became its quiet prisoner, obedient, unseen, and unheard. Madam Uche justified everything with one sentence: "I'm protecting you, my child." But protection wasn't supposed to feel like suffocation. Love wasn't supposed to feel like walls closing in. At night, when the ring light was finally switched off and silence filled the room, Dora would tiptoe to her window, the only door she had left. She pressed her cheek against the cold glass, watching children outside chasing each other under the orange street lights. Their laughter floated up like music she could hear but never join. She envied their freedom, the way they ran without cameras following them, the way their mothers called them home with soft voices, not commands. Sometimes she whispered their names, pretending she was part of their games, part of their world, but reality always reminded her she wasn't. Her only companions were the scripts she memorized, the ring light that blinded her, and the camera that demanded her smile without caring how she felt. Inside those four walls, Dora dreamed, softly, secretly, of a place where her voice mattered, a place where she wasn't a project or content but a person, a place where someone might ask her what she wanted. In her mind, she saw tall palm trees swaying, red earth glowing under the sun, and a small house in the village of Umueke, her grandmother's house, a place filled with warmth, stories, laughter, and the smell of roasted corn. A place where she imagined she could finally breathe. a place that felt like freedom. The mornings began like every other, heavy, breathless, and coated in stress. Madam Uche's voice echoed down the corridor before Dora even opened her eyes. Today's video must go viral, no mistakes. Dora stood in the kitchen with trembling hands, trying to recreate an okra soup recipe she barely understood. The camera stared at her like an unblinking judge. Sweat gathered on her forehead. Her heart pounded as her mother hovered behind the ring light. Arms crossed, eyes narrowed. "Smile!" Madam Uche snapped. Who will watch a sad girl cooking? So, Dora forced a smile. Thin, weak, and fake. She stirred the pot, lifted the spoon, spoke her lines. Take 1, take 2, take 5, take 8. By the 11th take, her hands were shaking uncontrollably. The pressure felt like a stone sitting on her chest. When she tried to lift the pot again, her fingers slipped. The hot okra splashed onto the floor, spreading across the tiles like a green accusation. Before Dora could apologize, a loud, furious shriek tore through the room. "Are you mad?" Madam Uche screamed, slamming her palm against the ring light. The stand wobbled violently. The bright circle tightened like a wounded moon. "Do you want to ruin my channel? You want to destroy everything I have built?" Dora flinched, tears gathered at the corners of her eyes. Her mother pointed at the spilled soup. "Clean that nonsense and forget about dinner today. I'm not feeding someone who can't even follow simple instructions." Something broke inside Dora at that moment. Not her heart, but the lasting thread that had been holding her together. She realized she wasn't living a life, she was surviving a storm that never ended. And if she didn't leave, she would disappear. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, and completely. That night, when the house grew quiet, Dora packed some of her clothes. She folded it gently and hid it under her pillow, as though hiding a piece of her identity. She sat on her bed and rehearsed her escape plan the way she rehearsed scripts, step by step, word by word, breath by breath. But this script wasn't for views, likes, or subscribers. This one was for her freedom. For the first time in months, she felt a spark inside her chest, a small fire, trembling but alive, a fire that whispered, "It's time to save yourself." Before dawn, when the sky was still wrapped in darkness and Lagos slept with heavy breaths, Dora made her move. Madam Uche had spent the whole night editing videos, clicking, cutting, shouting at her laptop, and had finally collapsed on the couch, snoring loudly, mouth slightly open, phone still clenched in her hand like a trophy. Dora stood quietly in the corridor, her clothes folded inside a nylon bag pressed to her chest. Her heartbeat was wild, loud enough she feared it might wake her mother. She moved towards the front door, each step soft and slow, like walking on a broken bottle. The house key hung on a rusty nail near the door. She reached for it with trembling fingers. The metal felt cold, too cold, like it had been waiting to test her courage. Her palm grew sweaty as she pulled it down gently, praying it wouldn't slip or make a sound. Just as she pushed the door into the lock, her mother snorted in her sleep. Dora froze. Silence, then another loud snore. She exhaled shakily and turned the key. Click. The sound echoed like thunder in her ears. She opened the door as slowly as a frightened child opens a book of monster. The hinges cracked soft but sharp. She winked, waiting for her mother's voice to slice through the air. But nothing. A cool breeze sliced into the door and brushed Dora's cheeks like the fingers of freedom welcoming her home. She stepped outside and closed the door quietly behind her. Then she did what she had never dared to do. She ran, barefoot at first, then faster when she got to the street. She didn't look back, not once. She ran past shops opening for the day, past vendors setting up their tables, past downfall drivers shouting their morning destinations. She reached the bus park just as the first bus was warming its engine. Breathless, she climbed in. The conductor barely glanced at her. He simply nodded and asked for her fare. Dora handed him the small savings she had hidden under her mattress for months. The bus pulled away. As the engine hummed and the wind blew through the window, Dora felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Something sharp and sweet. Hope. For the first time, she saw Lagos with her real eyes. The tall buildings, the busy streets, the smoky air, the chaotic beauty she had only viewed through a camera lens. Everything looked new, like she was meeting her own city for the first time. She leaned her head against the window and whispered, voice trembling but sure, "I'm going home." As the last glimpse of Lagos faded behind her, the road to Umeke stretched ahead, quiet, wide, full of promise. The moment Dora stepped onto the red soil of Umeke, something inside her loosened. The village breeze carried the scent of palm oil, firewood and morning dew, smells she had almost forgotten. Before she could take another step, she heard a familiar voice calling her name. "Dora! Nnem, is that you?" Mama Amaka rushed towards her with a surprising speed for a woman her age. Her wrapper was tied loosely, her grey hair scattered in the wind, but her smile, oh her smile, shone brighter than any ring light Dora had ever known. The old woman pulled her granddaughter into a deep, trembling embrace. A hug that didn't demand perfection. A hug that didn't need a second take. "You are too thin," Mama Amaka murmured, touching Dora's face gently. "When was the last time you ate well, my child?" Dora didn't trust her voice, so she only shook her head. The pain she had been swallowing for months rose like a wave. Mama Amaka wrapped an arm around her shoulder and led her inside the small warm hut Dora remembered from childhood, where stories lived in the walls and love lived in the air. Within minutes, Mama Amaka served her a bowl of hot yam porridge, steam swirling into the thatched roof ceiling like a blessing. Dora ate slowly at first, then hungrily, tears falling into the bowl. Mama Amaka sat beside her, rubbing her back with the patience of someone who had lost many battles but never loved. When Dora finally found her voice, it cracked. "Mama, I couldn't breathe in that house." She told her everything, every slap of the ring light stand, every forced smile, every locked door, every night she begged the window to set her free. Her words came out in a broken piece, but Mama Amaka gathered them gently, as though she was holding a fragile pot that needed mending. When Dora finished, exhausted and trembling, Mama Amaka pulled her close and wiped her tears. "My daughter," she whispered, her voice steady and full of strength. "A child is not a business venture. You are not a product. You are a blood, you are a breath, and you are life. Anyone who forgets that has forgotten the meaning of motherhood." Dora's chest loosened. For the first time in so long, she felt seen. Not as a tool, not as content, not as views, but as human being. As a family, as Dora. She lay on a bamboo mat that night, listening to crickets sing outside the window. For the first time in months, she slept without fear, without a camera watching, without a script waiting to be memorized. In Umeke, her healing began. Madam Uche woke up to an unusual silence, too quiet for a house that depended on constant filming. No ring light buzzing, no tripod shadow on the wall, no footsteps of Dora preparing for the day's tutor. The silence felt wrong, unnatural. She stretched, yawned, and reached for her phone, ready to edit more videos, but something tugged at her mind. A strange emptiness. She stood and walked towards Dora's room, with an irritation forming on her face. "Dora, get up. Today we are doing skincare videos." But no answer. She pushed the door open. The bed was empty, the pillow too smooth, the window slightly open. The nylon bag Dora kept beside her mattress was gone. Madam Uche's heart didn't just skip, it stopped, twisted, then slammed back into motion. A wave of panic shot through her chest, followed quickly by rage. No, she wouldn't dare. She tore apart the room, searching under the bed, behind the wardrobe, inside the bathroom, anywhere a frightened girl might hide. But Dora was nowhere. The truth hit her like cold water. Dora had escaped. And Uche felt something break inside her, not from love, but from fear of losing the fame Dora had built for her. Frantically, she grabbed her phone, switched on her front camera and hit record live. Tears streamed down her face, real or forced, even she didn't know anymore. "My daughter, she is missing," she cried. "Unknown enemies had kidnapped her. Please pray for us." Within minutes, the internet exploded. Comments poured in. "God will bring her back. Sorry for your loss. Where was she last seen?" Sympathy flooded her notifications until cracks started to appear. Anonymous comments whispered, "Missing? Or did she run away?" A neighbor leaked a screenshot of Dora washing dishes at night. Another posted a voice note of Uche yelling, "You must record 10 videos today." Someone else wrote, "We always hear that girl crying." The narrative began shifting fast. Uche's name started trending, but not the way she wanted. Words like child exploitation, wicked mother, and content slave filled the comment section. Her subscribers were no longer praising her, they were questioning her, doubting her, and exposing her. Her online reputation cracked like cheap glass. Her views dropped, brand pulled away, messages of support turned to accusations. And as her carefully built fame slipped through her fingers like dry sand, Uche's eyes hardened. She clenched her jaw. She blamed only one person, Dora. "You will pay for this." The storm had begun. Madam Uche didn't take the blow to her reputation quietly. Oh no, she came out swinging like a wounded lioness, desperate to protect her kingdom of likes and subscribers. Within hours of discovering Dora's escape, she launched a digital war unlike anything Lagos internet had ever seen. Her first video was tears, her second was shouting, her third was a shaky, dramatic plea, filmed with messy hair and a trembling voice. "My daughter, Dora, please come home. You are being manipulated. That old woman, yes, that so-called grandmother, is a witch who stole my child." The video exploded across social media and some viewers rushed to comfort her, others rolled their eyes, calling her performance Oscar-worthy. But the real twist came from Omeke. While Uche was busy acting, Mama Amaka, with the help of some village youths who had smartphones and strong Wi-Fi, quietly recorded her own video. No ring lights, no makeup, no dramatic angles, just the truth. She sat on a wooden stool under a mango tree. Dora beside her, hands trembling slightly, but her eyes filled with new courage. With calm dignity, Mama Amaka spoke. "I am not a witch. I am a grandmother. My granddaughter came here by herself, and she came because she was suffering." The camera panned to Dora. She swallowed hard and said, "Mama made me walk. She locked me inside. I just wanted to rest." Within minutes, the internet went wild. Two women, two stories, two completely different worlds, locked in a digital battle. Hashtag started trending. Hashtag justice for Dora. Hashtag free the child star. Hashtag Mama Amaka speaks. Hashtag stop Uche. Hashtag bring Dora home. Reaction poured in from every corner of Nigeria and beyond. Skits were made. Reaction videos flooded YouTube. TikTok creators reenacted Uche's crying videos. One remix of her screaming winch turned into a dance challenge and gathered millions of views overnight. Madam Uche watched the chorus with trembling hands. She realized something terrifying. She no longer controlled the narrative. The same fame she worshipped, the same audience she built was now tearing her apart. The internet had transformed into a monster, feeding on drama, twisting her words, chewing her reputation, and spitting out memes. For the first time, Madam Uche felt small, very small. Her empire wasn't crumbling, it was burning. For days, Dora watched the online battle rage. Her mother screaming into cameras, strangers arguing, memes flying around like mosquitoes in Hamatan. Everyone else was speaking for her except her. And that was when she realized something. If she didn't speak now, she would forever be a character in someone else's story. So, one quiet afternoon, Dora walked to the mango tree behind Mama Amaka's hut. The same tree where she had played as a child. The same tree that, unlike cameras, didn't require filters or perfection. "Mama, I want to talk," Dora said softly. Mama Amaka nodded with understanding beyond words. She handed Dora a small phone one of the village boys had set up on a wooden stool. No ring lights, no script, no shouting director. Just a girl, a tree, and a truth that had waited too long. Dora took a deep breath, her hands trembling at first, but when she looked at the camera, she didn't see fear, she saw freedom staring back at her. She pressed record. "Hi, my name is Dora," she began, voice unsteady but real. "This is the first video I'm making for myself." She talked about everything. How she woke up to ring lights instead of sunlight. How she filmed until her hands shook. How she cried quietly so the microphone wouldn't capture it. She explained how being a child turned into being an employee. How her laughter became content. How her mother's love turned into numbers, click and analysis. "I escaped because I wanted to breathe," she said, voice breaking. "Not because I hated my mother, but because I couldn't find myself anymore." Then, she did something she had never done on camera. She cried. Not performative tears, not edited tears, but real tears. When Dora finished, she wiped her face with back of her hand, exhaled softly and ended the recording. The village boys uploaded the video. Within 1 hour, it started spreading. Within 3 hours, it was everywhere. By evening, it became the single most shared clip in Nigeria. People weren't just watching, they were listening. Comments poured in. You are so brave. No child deserved that. Thank you for speaking your truth. You are stronger than you know. Celebrities reshared it. Journalists debated it. By nightfall, Dora had gained more subscribers than her mother ever had, even in her peak days. But this time, the numbers didn't choke her. They didn't control her. They didn't own her. For the first time in her life, Dora felt proud, not because of views, not because of likes, not because of virality, but because she has finally found something her mother had tried to take away: her voice. And it was loud, clear, and beautifully hers. The internet moved like a hurricane, swift, merciless, unstoppable. As Dora's truth echoed across Nigeria, the cracks in Madam Uche's empire widened until they became gaping holes she could no longer cover with makeup or tears. One by one, brands cut ties. We do not support child exploitation. We are suspending all your collaborations. We stand with Dora. Emails flooded in, sponsors vanished, her phone became a graveyard of notifications she didn't want to open. Her subscribers, the same people she entertained, lectured, manipulated and charmed, started falling in thousands. Every morning, she refreshed her analysis only to watch the numbers fall like rain during a Lagos storm. Her revenue decreased so fast it felt like someone had pushed her channel off a cliff. Still, she fought. She posted videos defending herself, shouting into the camera, pacing her living room, ranting about lies, betrayers and ungrateful child. But the internet had already taken a position. Nothing she said could soften its voice. Her tears now felt like strategy. Her apologies sounded like scripts. Her explanation felt like excuses. Desperation made her reckless. One hot afternoon, without planning, without thinking, without even packing, Uche grabbed her handbag and boarded a bus to Uche. She didn't care about the stairs or the heat. All she wanted was to bring Dora back. But when she arrived in the village, she found more than red earth and tall palm trees waiting for her. She found people. Dozens of villagers stood in front of Mama Maka's compound. Men with folded arms, women with wrappers tied tightly around their waists, youths holding their phones, elders leaning on their walking sticks. Uche tried to push her way in. Move, she's my daughter, my blood. But the villagers didn't budge. Their eyes held firm disapproval, the kind that pierced deeper than insults. One of the elders stepped forward, voice calm but sharp as a blade. A mother is meant to protect, he said slowly. Not to exploit, not to imprison, not to turn her child into currency. Uche's lip trembled. You don't understand. I was trying to. No, another villager cut in. You are trying to grow your channel, not your daughter. Their words hit her like cold water poured on a burning wood. She tried again to advance, but a young woman placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Madam, look at yourself. Really look. And for the first time, Uche did. In their eyes, she didn't see fame, influence or success. She didn't see a strong woman fighting for her family. She saw herself as they saw her. A woman who lost her way. A woman blinded by clicks and views. Someone who traded motherhood for monetization. Her knees weakened, she sank onto a nearby log, burying her face in her hands. Tears, real this time, streamed down her cheeks. Not the kind recorded for sympathy, not the kind rehearsed for engagement, but the kind that came from a wounded soul finally facing its own truth. As she cried, the villagers remained silent. Not mocking, not scorning, just standing, waiting and watching a broken woman confront the consequences of her actions. Madam Uche had fought the entire internet, but this battle, this one, she fought it within herself. The sun in Uche rose slowly the next morning, as if it too was waiting to see what would become of Madam Uche and Dora. For 3 long days, the village compound carried the sound of quiet sobs, broken conversations, and painful truths finally spoken aloud. Uche could barely look at her daughter without tears singing in her eyes. Each time Dora recounted a memory, the nights she cried alone behind the camera, the mornings she woke up terrified of disappointing her mother, Uche felt another piece of her heart crumble. Mama Amaka watched them with the patience of a mother who had raised generations. She did not shout or judge, she simply guided them with gentle words that cut deeper than anger ever could. Fame can blind even the strongest, she told Uche, but a mother's love must never lose its sight. Those words echoed in Uche's ear even at night, keeping her awake, forcing her to see the monster she had unknowingly created inside herself. On the fourth day, Dora finally spoke the words Uche feared and needed. "I will come back with you, but only if things change." Her voice did not shake, it was steady like a child who had learned her strength through sufferings. "No more locked doors," she said. "No more forced content. No more chasing money with my childhood." Uche broke down completely. She knelt in the rest sound, her voice breaking like a broken instrument. I promise with everything in me. Just give me one more chance to be your mother." When they finally returned to Lagos, their home felt strangely quiet, almost too peaceful. The ring lights were packed away. The camera stood untouched. For the first time, Uche let her daughter breathe. Dora launched a new channel, not built on pressure or performance, but on truth. She talked about healings, freedom, and starting all over. Viewers commented on her honesty, and for once, Uche stood behind the scenes, watching her daughter smile for real, not for likes. The internet expected more dramas, more fights, and more chaos, but instead, they witnessed something rare, something powerful, a family choosing to rebuild rather than break. And in that moment, the world didn't just subscribe, they believed. We have finally come to the end of today's story. Thank you, my dear listeners, for watching today's story. I appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe till we meet again in another exciting tale. Bye.